Welcome back to Reverend Big John's Backyard Fishing. As you can see, this is my circumstances. We got snow around us. It's cold. I just figured I'd get out here and try to see if I can get something to hit. Normally, my first fish is always a smallmouth. They don't mind the cold as much, but it's about 38 degrees outside. A lot of snow and ice just came through. And just thought I'd try for a second or two. You know, just to kind of touch base with y'all. Last time I was out was the beginning of the year. And just wanted to come out real quick. See what's out there. Peacock Pete asked me how was I doing, so I figured I'd come out here and show him. Still waiting for it to warm up around here or get to that pre-spawn stuff coming in, but right now we still got a little ways. It's February the 13th, 2019 today. So I'll fish a little while. Let you hear one of my sermons that I preached this year or last year. I figure out which one I'll put on there, but God bless. And as always, keep the Lord first and keep your lines tight. And I'll see you next time on the water.
A reminder when Paul told them we should have never loosed from Crete. But be of good cheer. It's funny how at first they didn't hear him. But now that they are limp, they have been fasting because they have not eaten. They are no longer full of strength, power, nor vigor. And so Paul has their undivided attention. He says, look, don't worry about the fact that we got on a ship that we had no business getting on. Understand this, that even now with the ship going through so much turmoil, God has spoken to me. And he told me to tell you to be of good cheer because you are riding with the man of God. See, it's time for you now to identify who's on your ship. No matter what cruise you get on, no matter what journey you take, if you are a child of God, even an indiscretion can be turned around to be made good. But you have to begin to look around and see who's on board that has some common sense, some holy common sense. Who's on board that knows who God is. See, sometimes we get beside ourselves because we think we know it all. And we think we have the word figured out. But sometimes you're going to have to defer to someone else. Someone who you never really wanted to listen to. Someone who tried to warn you, but because it was them warning you and you didn't want to be told what to do, now you find yourself humbled and exhausted where you have nowhere else to turn but the one who gave you the information that you rejected that came from God. You have to identify who's on your ship because you got to understand that even though you may leave God, he said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. In other words, I know you on a ship that you ain't got no business on. The problem is that when we get to the point where, okay, now that we're here, we're exhausted, and we really still don't want to turn to you, Lord, we have to do what? Jump the ship. Let me just get off so I can start again. The problem with getting off of the ship that you had no business getting on is that there's danger waiting below. Because you didn't listen to the previous warnings, you are now on a ship that you have no business being on. Well, now you have to humble yourself to hear from God. You can't just start throwing folk off the ship. You can't abandon everything. You have to now be still to see the salvation of the Lord. In other words, it's not by your might, but his might. It's not by your power, but his power. It's not by your word, but his word. See, when you die to your own word, you can hear his word.
All right.
The soldiers who did not hear a word that Paul had to say were now paying close attention, and they said, now, the ship that you're on is over. The ship will be destroyed. What's the problem with that? Somehow that don't make, if the ship gets destroyed, then I should be destroyed as well. If I'm on, the Bible says that it was 90 feet deep. That's way over my head. There were some soldiers who act like they was throwing the anchor down, but they was actually trying to get off this ship. Paul said, you better let them know. No one can get off this ship. Because if someone gets off the ship, we all in trouble. Stay on.
Hey, it's frozen.